Nifty 50 alongside BSE Sensex is one of the most popular stock market indexes in India, if not the most popular. And currently it is worth around 24,625 rupees as of 1st September 2025. So today we will decode Nifty 50, what it actually is, what is its composition, which companies are it in, and its performance over its entire existence. So let's find out. The first, the Nifty 50, here it says, represents the float weighted average of 50 of the largest Indian companies listed on the National Stock Exchange. Float weighted average of 50 of the largest Indian companies listed on this National Stock Exchange. So 50 of the largest Indian companies that are listed on the NSE or the National Stock Exchange. Nifty 50 has those stocks. However, it also says float weighted average. What is float weighted average? Now, float weighted average means, here it is, and this is important. It's important. Okay. Company's position in the index, right? Of how much of the index is this particular company, let's say Reliance, is not based on the total number of shares, but is based on the number of shares available for public trading. Okay. So for example, there is a company in the Nifty 50. So if we are trying to find out how much of the total Nifty 50 is this company. So we won't look at the company's total number of shares. We will only look at the company's public trading shares. Okay. Free floating shares, shares owned by us, like common investors, shares owned by the government, shares owned by strategic investors, shares owned by the promoters of the company, not included in the Nifty 50. All right. Only the free floating shares are included. So this is the definition of Nifty 50. Let's look at its returns. Nifty 50 last 20 years. Right? We got 2025, all right, we got 2021, 2024, all the way we go down to 2001. Now the figure, they are a bit apart. What we want to look at are the annual numbers, which is all the way here. Here we have the annual numbers, but the dates we have all the way here, the date for the year. And in between we have the months, so returns for all the months. All right. So Nifty 50. Okay, so in 2024, we had returns of 8.75%. 2023, 19%. 2022, this is 2022. Yeah, 4%, 4.32%. 2021, 24%. And 2020, 14.9%. 2019, returns of 12.2%. So we haven't had a down year. Our last down year in the Nifty 50 was 2015. 2015 was the last down year in Nifty 50 of Nifty 50. And since then, okay, this is 2015, minus 4% return that year. Since 2015, all we have had are positive returns. Pretty good. Now let's see the composition of Nifty 50. All right, the compositions and all. Okay, first, we have sector allocation. Now, this data is not the latest, it is as of July 2025. Not September, but July 2025. The real data as of now might be a bit different, but this data representation looks the most pretty. So first we have financial services making up 37.9% of the index. 37.9% of all the companies, well, all the shares in Nifty 50 comes from companies in the financial services sector, followed by the information technology sector. All right. Then we have oil, gas, and consumable fuels, followed by automobile and auto components, and the fifth being the fast moving consumer goods sector. Then we have the telecommunication, healthcare, metals and mining, consumer services, power, construction, construction materials, and consumer durables. All right. So 37.9% dominated by financial services, like more than one third, and information technology around 10%. Oil, gas, and consumable fuels, 10%. Automobiles, all right, all right. So as of July 2025, the price to earnings ratio, the average price to earnings ratio of the companies in the Nifty 50, average 21.93. The price to book ratio, 3.33. So the per share price of a company, okay, the average per share price of a company is 3.3 times the average book value of a company in Nifty 50. The dividend yield is 1.33%. They should be in percent. Standard deviation 22.60%, and returns since inception. This was launched, Nifty 50 was launched in 1995, I think so, 1995, and returns since then annualized have been 11.39%, have been the annualized returns. Then constituents by company, okay? The largest company here with the largest weightage is HDFC Bank. As of July 2025, 13.71% of the total Nifty 50 is HDFC Bank itself, followed by ICICI Bank, making up 9.41%. Then we have Reliance Industries, 8.40%. Now, you may wonder that Reliance is like the largest company in India by market cap. So, why is it third? Well, because again, many of its shares will be owned by the promoters of the company themselves. And those shares owned by the promoters of the company do not represent the free floating shares. Free floating, the free floating shares. Therefore, those shares are not included. And the Nifty 50 includes companies, right? Includes the weightage of companies only by the total number of free floating shares. Companies are given certain, what can I say, weightage. They're given a certain weightage in the index according to the free floating shares only. So that's why Reliance is third. Then Infosys is the fourth, 4.85%. Bharti Airtel is fifth. Larsen& Toubro, sixth. And we move down, we have TCS. Again, many of its shares will be owned by the promoters, strategic investors. Those are not free floating shares, so those shares will not be included in Nifty 50, and the market cap, the market value of all those shares will of course not be included in the Nifty 50. That's why TCS is down here. SBI interesting, down. Hindustan Unilever, Sun Pharmaceutical also down 1.64%. Then we move down, and at the lowest position we have IndusInd Bank and Hero MotoCorps, 0.48% and 0.5% of the index respectively. And I think they're about to be replaced. I'm not sure about Hero MotoCorp, but I think IndusInd Bank is about to be replaced. That was it. That was Nifty 50, the top 50 companies in India, the market index of the top 50 companies in India by market cap, the free float average, the free float weighted average of these companies has only been taken, not the total number of shares. That was it. That was Nifty 50.